Hi there. I wasn't actually planning on revealing myself today or anytime soon, but I actually went to the Pixel Expo last weekend, so I thought I might as well do a recap and give myself a bit of a soft launch. Okay, so what is Pixel Expo? Well, the Expo is a combined anime and indie games event that's held across the country of Australia. So the event that I went to over the weekend was based in Perth at the Perth Convention Centre. So I actually had no idea this was going on until I saw a few Facebook ads and decided to register for it about 5 or 6 days before the actual event. The expo was split into several sections. So first you had the artist alley where people would sell their own merch, fan art, trinkets, pillowcases and whatnot. Next you had the main stadium which had scheduled shows throughout the entire weekend. So some of the highlights were Bow the Whale performing there, a cosplay competition, and also a highlight for Perth VTubers where three VTubers went head to head in a quiz. It was very awkward, very cringe, and also very entertaining. The main exhibition floor, which you can see on the screen here, is basically where the larger exhibitors and the main events were. So you had a few tournaments held here and there. So you can see the Beyblade tournament being held in the background. You also had some fighting game tournaments as well, and also a whole bunch of workshops. So you can see people painting miniatures and working with them in the background as well. So again, some of the more entertaining parts of the Pixel Expo, you had the VR driving sims, which were pretty awesome. Got like a little bit sick after playing around on these. You also had a retro lounge over here too, where you could just sit back, kick back, relax, play some games in your free time. Of course, we also saw some pretty funny cosplay. We had this great exhibit here with some nice, well-painted cars. Not really into them, but the paint jobs are doing their thing. It was pretty cool to see. So the big highlight for me was going to the Wagic section. So this is where the independent games component of the expo was. So we had a whole bunch of developers set up a whole bunch of booths all around, and you got to try and play some of their demos that they had on display. Here are a couple of pictures of some of the games that I played. So they were pretty good. The big highlight for me was Miyu and Kaiju. We had Tether Brawl. We had Infinity Knights Ross, which was also pretty good, and also a few other games which I couldn't get to. But again, really great display. So one of the main reasons for me attending this event was to actually go to the workshops and panels. Some of the workshops that really caught my interest was the Learning Japanese 3 Gaming. Actually, no, that's a lie. My partner actually wanted to go to that one, but she couldn't make it, so I went in instead. And it turns out that workshop was pretty good. So we got a couple of recommendations. A lot of them was the Yakuza games, but obviously the panelists had a bias towards that. But they did recommend some good stuff for beginners as well. So Learn to Survive by Learning Japanese is a trilogy. And I think I actually got the name a little bit wrong, but in any case, as of this recording, it is currently about 80% off on Steam right now. So it was really good timing and pretty good information to get a hold of at the time. So aside from the Learning Japanese workshop, the other main panels that I wanted to see were all of the VTubing related ones. There was actually a fair few of them, and I could only get to two of them. So the first one that I went to was VTubing Level Up, which was hosted by Amatagawa Ian. I didn't even realise that there was an Australian-based group, or at least I think they're Australian. But they went over some of the cool things that are kind of mandatory once you've made a channel or gotten a larger audience. So unfortunately for me, it didn't really provide a lot of value, but it gave me a lot to think about in the future. The final panel on the Sunday was the panel I was looking forward to the most. It was the Perth VTubers meet and greet and Q&A session, and I was quite surprised that there were 7 VTubers there hosting the panel. The Q&A session went more or less smoothly. There was nothing controversial, all the questions were quite family friendly and pretty accommodating, but we did have one question. It was the second last audience question of the panel, which sort of threw everyone in for a bit of a loop. So first things first, the audience member took forever to actually ask their question. They had like a pretty heavy disclaimer at the start, which went on forever about them not actually being a VTuber fan. And he basically eventually asked, why VTubers had a stereotype or a perception that, I don't know, they were just stupid, to put things succinctly. it was a pretty incendiary question in my opinion, and probably one of the funnier things was the first response that I heard from the panel was, "My head empty," and I just like laughed and died inside like a little bit. The MC for the panel, Dawn Rose, did a fantastic job. So what they did was they re-summarized the question in a really good way and basically just gave a fantastic answer, just knocked it out of the park. VTubers come in, all shapes and sizes, and they all do different types of content and do different things. Just because there's a stereotype there doesn't mean that every VTuber is, silly or whatnot. If you don't like one VTuber, watch another one that might catch your interest. But yeah, Dawn Rose did a fantastic job. And, everyone else on the panel was pretty good. But yeah, very entertaining panel, especially towards the end when things got kind of spicy. But overall, very smooth Q&A. So at the end of that session, I mean, the first thing that I definitely did was just add everyone to the socials. And yeah, that was pretty much the end of the Pixel Expo experience for me. So with all of that said and done, that's pretty much the end of my recap. So apologies for the super long video, all of the jump cuts, and everything else, and me saying the word and all the time and using all my filler words. But hopefully you'll see me around in some more videos and maybe some more live streams. Thanks.